Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 2 vs 2 on Odon, and this is another 2 vs 2 rank game where I'm going to be playing with Val, and we're using exactly the same composition as usual for our divisions, 101st Airborne for myself, and the 3rd Canadian Infantry for Val. We're playing against Kronos and Anderland again, and they're playing the 3rd Fallschirmjäger and 91st Luftlander again. So we're pretty much having like a rematch almost, a 2v2 rematch. This time, I believe, on a map that actually favours us a lot more. So favours myself and Val, that is. Because not only have we got the nice side of the map where we don't have to worry about this river so much, but also there's just a lot more forests. And in general, the 101st Airborne works very well around forests because of airborne engineers in general. I'm also going to be going for this right side town, so I'm going to be pushing the right side and taking the town and these forest areas, and then Val's going to be controlling the left side with his 3rd Canadian Division. So what I'll do is I'll just speed things up, we'll get the units down, I'll show you where they're going, and I'll talk through the general strategy of how I'm going to hit these different locations. So we kind of know what to expect. We played against these guys before, but obviously they've played against us as well, so both sides are going to have the advantage of knowing how the other plays. But it was quite interesting to see how little, I guess, our opponents adapted to what we did, based on exactly the same thing that we did in the last game, I guess. I guess the main difference from this game to the last was that there wasn't as many mass surrenders as there was in the last game, but it was still a very interesting one nonetheless. So I've got a combination of airborne engineers, pathfinders, airborne rifles, command infantry, and a mortar and an AT gun moving up to this right town. And that's pretty much just a combined force of fire support alongside the mortar there to provide smoke and allow my airborne engineers to engage at a decent range. Then I have a couple units of airborne engineers moving up to these trees along with a command infantry and a mortar. Mortar's there to provide smoke to allow them to get across the river without being harassed too much, and the AT guns here to defend this bridge. I've also got a Pathfinder squad going to the middle to support Val's AT gun as it's moving up over here. And then he's got a bunch of units moving over to the far left. We're going to see a Storch come out at the start of the game. That's going to be revealing a lot of Val's forces at least. You can see pretty much all that's coming. However, this is quite interesting. You can't identify exactly what these are unless he's flying right over them, which is, I think, really awful. But either way, you can see what's coming. You can see how far I can push up, and that's working out quite nicely for him there. Either way, my units have arrived. Airborne engineers are going to unload them as close as I can to the Fallschirmjägers to make sure that they are forced out of that building. And then I'm coming up with the smoke from the mortars. And yeah, airborne engineers continuing to engage the Fallschirmjägers. Going to need to make sure that I cover them off properly as they approach the church. So moving the airborne engineers to the left side, they're going to be able to put the flames onto the church and burn the church out, forcing the MG34 into the open, and we're going to end up killing that off. More smoke's just going to allow me to continue this push on the right side. Airborne engineers leading the charge, airborne rifles just sitting back along with the 50 cal there, and that's pretty much all it is. See, the MG34 is going to get burnt out. Fallschirmjäger in the open are going to be hit as well by the rifles, but my opponent pretty much just abandons the town. I'm not entirely sure if this was the best idea or not, but definitely worked out. I'm going to see mortars come in and bring the smoke down on top of the Fallschirmjägers there to stop them engaging at me from the ideal range. So the Fallschirmjägers there, if they engaged the airborne engineers on the edge of the town, would have done a lot of damage, so I smoked it all off to make sure it couldn't happen. And my mortar's pretty much done its job. We've taken the town on the right. I've also got a big old dent into this tree line here, and I'm also smoking off these engineers so they can push through to these tree lines. Because I don't want these, like Ersatztruppen or whatever else would have been there, shooting the airborne engineers as they go across, because then they would get pinned down and then lose their combat effectiveness. So airborne rifles get to the edge of the town, they're going to be engaging the Fallschirmjägers at max range. I'm going to see myself bring in a Mustang to counter Anderland's HS129B3. So HS129 at the start of the game again for our opponents. They did manage to take out Val's Ram, I believe. But now I'm just going to be coming in with the Mustang to shoot that down. And the Mustang didn't look like it was going to get the kill because it was bypassed it, like so. But it's going to be able to come back around and get that kill. It flies out wide, comes back in, gets guns on target. And we're going to be able to shoot that down. There we go. Lovely jubbly. One of the Ersatz-Truppen on the left side was killed. These Ersatz-Truppen are being rushed by my airborne engineers. They're going to flame them out, and that's going to give us the ground here as well. So we're currently running 56% territory lead with a +1. Airborne engineers really leading the way in this one, doing a great amount of damage, especially with the smoke support from the mortar. Worked out incredibly well. Now our opponents are bringing in the Stur 42 again. And I'm just going to be using some direct mortar fire from the mortar in order to do some damage to the Fallschirmjägers and help pin down the Stur maybe. But yeah, the airborne rifles forced to fall back. Going to be seeing my Mustang come in onto the opposing Storch here. Trying to shoot that down. Val's 6-pounder getting found by some Fallschirmjägers isn't ideal. So Val was having a pretty hard time, but yeah, I'm going to be coming in here. Just trying to do my best to shoot this thing down, but my Mustang's just so fast. Either way, I control the town, I control these forest areas. Just kind of watching out for Val on this left side. Storch is going to get out of there. And yeah, so since I control this, I'm bringing up some airborne engineers to control this forest area. Trying to get this M3 gun up into a position where it can take on the Stur. And here we go, sneaks in between the buildings, 1 shot, 1 kill. That's a really nice line of sight there. You can see straight through all the way onto the Stur. And the Stur was going to drive away, but not shot in the side armor. So that was a really nice kill from my M3 gun. M3 guns also moving to the edge of this house now. Going to be able to get line of sight onto this Kubel, and goodbye to the Kubel as well. That was a Fallschirmjäger squad most likely, so that was a really good kill there. And that's again solidified my position on this right side. Now I wasn't entirely sure how much was ahead of me, but either way, trying to push across the open was just going to end up with me being pinned down by Fallschirmjägers. So that wasn't ideal. I went for the little bit of a push there because I was convinced there wasn't too much defending. I just don't have the right units right now to push through it. So just bringing up some reinforcements. Going to be a little bit more infantry just to solidify my position. What I could have probably done is brought up a second mortar and just gone for the mortar and push strategy again. Get the smoke on target and then move up. But I don't know, I just wasn't completely confident with that play. So I didn't really go for it in the end. Meanwhile on the left side, Val is holding best he can. Now we've got to remember that the 50% mark on this map is about here. So in the center, he's actually pushed up quite far because he's managed to get over the river, and yeah, this is well over 50% here. Also up here, that's well over 50%. So although it looks, you know, not ideal for Val right now, he's still holding at least a 50-50 on the left side, whilst I'm well over the river on the right side. So 56% territory lead, that's where it's coming from. M3 guns still getting shots onto these units as they're coming up the road here. Mortar is now being resupplied by the Jeep, so that's going to give me more smoke shells to work with. And the Opel Blitz there taking out, or being taken out by the M3 gun. That's going to give me a free infantry kill. Brought up these 2 airborne rifles. They're going to move to the right side and try and approach through this orchard towards the Fallschirmjäger. Yes, so you can see them. I've got them on attack move orders to move through the orchard there and just approach these Fallschirmjägers. And the idea was that when they get close, I'm going to smoke them off, get into these buildings, and then kill the Fallschirmjägers that are actually outside of the buildings right now. I believe they moved them outside the building so they weren't engaged by my 50 cal and my other infantry squads. And this actually stung them a little bit later on, but either way, M3 gun's going to go down to the MG34 there. I brought in engineers just to secure my position in these trees, so that's worked out quite nicely. I could have moved forwards my M3 gun here to have a line of sight further up, but I didn't end up doing so. Airborne rifles are trying to sneak across into this orchard, but they're going to get pinned down by the Fallschirmjägers as they try. And well, since I spotted the Schwimmwagen here, you can see I already started to spread out my forces. This is exactly why these guys ran to the left. I didn't need to get into this orchard, I was just trying to avoid the off-map. And because I saw it coming a mile off, all that happens is these engineers take a little bit of damage, but the rest of my units are left unscathed. So that was really good. I anticipated the off-map and actually played against it really well in this one, and that was, you know, I was really quite happy with myself. I was quite pleased. So coming in with the Mustang to get rid of these Ersatztruppen, and that's going to assist Val's stormtroopers in taking them down and allowing us to basically get rid of this bubble that's stopping us from getting a +2 lead right now. So 50 cal is in position, going to be falling back the airborne engineers. We've got the 58% lead since the Ersatztruppen surrender, and they're going to be coming in onto the attack onto the Fallschirmjäger here, but just going to get the Mustang out of there in case our opponents decide to buy some planes, because we have just moved into Phase B, so maybe they were saving for them. I'd make sure to get the Mustang out of there so it can refuel and resupply. So now I'm actually going to be bringing up my own off-map artillery.
Looking for targets.
That's going to hopefully help me advance. Mortar's still firing away, and I'm actually bringing up a second mortar. Now the smoke play that I was on about, I should have done this probably a lot sooner, but either way it's underway, and smoke is coming down, just smoking on top of their Fallschirmjäger so they can't see this coming. And if we go to like their point of view, if we go to Anderland's point of view, he has no idea what's happening. I'm assuming he thinks that I'm coming from ahead of him, but he's going to be bringing in an off-map on the right side of the town. But that's only going to hit like a 50 cal and an airborne leader. Meanwhile, my rifles are literally just running up to these buildings. And if I can occupy them, they can just sit there until the smoke dissipates, and as soon as it does, they're in a fantastic position to take on the Fallschirmjägers. 50 cal's taking on the MG34 in the open. These Fallschirmjägers, here we go, the smoke starts to dissipate, and at this close range, 11 HE on target. Fallschirmjäger's getting damaged severely there. MG34 takes a mortar shell to the face, and that's going to finish them off. Off-map artillery is coming in on top of the 50 cal and the airborne leader now. So one of my 50 cals does go down to the off-map. Try to move forwards the airborne leader to support these airborne rifles, because the last thing I need is these airborne rifles to surrender. There's no command unit nearby, so what I'm doing instead is just bringing up a locus here to basically get them under command radius, give them the extra star of veterancy, and we do manage to kill off the Fallschirmjäger and the Fallschirmführer there. So that leaves us in a really good position in these buildings, and has opened up another gap on the right side, so +2 well in our favour. Now Val's struggling a little here, he is being pushed very hard. Now we're in Phase B, there is Fallschirm Pioneers coming over here from Kronos, and he's basically going to be able to push back Val's Stormtroopers, which he's going to end up running out of anyway. Over on the right side, Anderland's just struggling to hold on. With the smoke dissipating, we find the last Fallschirmjägers, and this is a really nice preemptive strike from Anderland, using the Schwimmwagen to get that strike on target of where I was attacking him. So he's going to obviously sacrifice his Fallschirmjägers, he knows he's going to die, and then in comes the off-map artillery straight after. Now in my opinion, since I killed the Schwimmwagen there, this artillery should have never fired, but either way, manages to get the artillery strike off in a really nice position to kill the airborne leader. Doesn't completely kill off my airborne rifles, but definitely does a significant amount of damage to them and pins them down. M22 Locust is also forced to fall back, so managed to make a lot of ground there, taking those buildings. It's the only buildings past the town that are really an issue. I'm also trying to go for a smoke play into the chateau area here. So smoke coming out just to cover them off. Hopefully going to allow my airborne engineers to get close enough to clear out the compound. The Storch is still flying around. I was really surprised to see this Storch like survive for the majority of the game. I'm actually bringing over the Mustangs to kill it off. Finally goes down. But it definitely provided a lot of recon throughout the game, so it was nice to see a recon aircraft actually used to probably its max potential throughout the game before it got shot down. Because having 2 Mustangs in the sky now is really going to be a big deal. Other way here, I saw the reinforcing infantry come in, so off-map artillery being ordered in on top of all of these grenadiers and so on, occupying this tree line. I'm bringing up my own reinforcements to be able to push on after that. Also managed to get these airborne engineers into the compound here, and they're going to be burning some Fallschirmjäger to death. Use the smoke to sneak them up, and I'm going to be trying to move across the open here to try and get shots onto the Fallschirmjäger. Fallschirmjäger do get flamed out of the building, but what's going to end up happening is my airborne engineers get pinned down as well. Off-map comes in here. Does do quite a lot of damage to the grenadiers, but doesn't really kill them off. Here's all of my engineers with a glider leader. Going to drop all them out. I'm just going to be making a push through the orchard here and then up on the left side through these tree lines. Over on the left, Cronus doing his best to hold back Val. Val's using these wasps to flame out the Fallschirmjäger there. And now he's coming up with rifles and assault pioneers to help him out. He's also got the Mosquito there, able to help him finish off that Fallschirmjäger squad, so that's quite nice. He's already used the bombs on these chaps. There is going to be ME-109 brought in. That's going to be getting his Spitfire out of there. So Val's not going to lose any planes today. For this engagement on the right side, I've still got the airborne engineers sneaking around over here. Going to be killing off the Fallschirmjäger squad in those buildings. We're seeing a Stug 3 come down the road. That's going straight into Val's 6-pounder. 6-pounder's actually going to miss twice. Can it hit the 3rd shot? No, it can't. 6-pounder goes down. Val's left in a pretty difficult spot there. Stug 3 able to really do a lot of damage to his troops now without any AT there to stop him. If we go back to the neutral perspective, another off-map coming in. This time onto a similar place. This is like the reinforcement road, so I'm pretty safe to just put strikes here over and over and over again, and then just slowly approach them. And then if I find any like heavy resistance, I can just off-map that instead. So yeah, just one off-map. Second strike's coming in, and they're even reinforcing right on top of it. So maybe if I'd done this a little bit later, it would have been ideal, because here we can see that the off-map lands really nicely. It kills off one grenadier squad. Going to hit another grenadier squad there. It's also going to hit the Pak 38. 2 infantry squads down. This airborne rifles is pushing up, bringing in another strike, because again, this is the only place he can move forwards. If he wants to move past this tree line, it's the only place he can do it. So another off map. Just keep him pinned down, allow my units to move forwards and take the ground. So I managed to clear out this compound, mainly thanks to the airborne engineers there, who did manage to just about survive. On the left side of things, I've got 3 Mustangs in the air now. His ME-109 doesn't stand a chance, and rightly so, he's going to get that out of there. This Stug 3 proving to be a massive issue for Val's rifles and assault pioneers. On the right side, Fallschirmjäger is going to be destroyed as they try and move forwards alongside the Pak 38. Also brought up an M8 Greyhound now. This is quite simply just to support any infantry that pushes up to the tree line. You're going to be seeing these Speertroop sitting in the tree line there for a little while. They were providing some nice recon actually for Anderland, but Anderland's just lost so much ground at this point. You can see all this coming. It's got the you can see the M8, but his grenadier squad's going to surrender, and yeah, now I have control of the orchard on the far right side as well. Well, I say I have control. There's 3 units. There's like a 3-man squad of airborne rifles, and actually going to open up onto the IJ-18, which was not the best idea because the IJ-18 can probably kill them off. But I'm just going to be moving up with Pathfinders nonetheless, and just sort of sequentially pushing forwards best I can. My Mustangs are trying to support Val on the left side, killing off as many Fallschirmjägers as we can. Also brought up an off map to the left side to help out as well, and these are pretty much just going to go for the off-map arty strike onto their mortars, because the mortars were proving to be quite an issue for Val. Also, I'm going to be continuously pinning down the Stug with this artillery, so that was basically what that artillery was attempting to do. So there's like 4 mortars on this side. You've got 2 81mm mortars and 2 120mm mortars, and they were really doing a lot of work on Val throughout the game. Either way, another fighter going to be going down there. Really no point in bringing that ME-109 when there are 4 Mustangs on the field, because it's going to die. And then, well, Val's Mosquitoes are also going to just bomb all of those units as well. So my artillery is going to come in, it's going to take out the Kubel, going to take out one of the mortars, it's going to just pin down the other one anyway. So that was really nice. Also bringing in another off map to where these Fallschirm Pioneers are. And again, that's pretty much just a place where I think they're going to reinforce. So just going for that shot where I can. Going to be coming back round with the Mustang onto the Ju-88. Going to be trying to shoot that down, and I do manage to get the kill. It's another expensive aircraft being taken out, and just as you know, the same as in the last game, not entirely sure why they brought in planes at this point, like a Ju-88. You know, it's a nice plane and it works well, but you've got to have your support on the ground to take advantage of it. And yeah, in this case it was another one of those planes that were bought as a panic, I think, and since it got shot down and the game's not going too well, our opponents surrender, and after 21 minutes and 6 seconds we are victorious. So that was quite a nice straightforward game. I think in this one I just really exploited the use of smoke with those airborne engineers to take the ground that I wanted, and then just sort of held where I needed to. I could have obviously pushed through. If you look at it from the neutral perspective, you could see that there wasn't much there, and therefore I could have continued to push. But you have to be careful that you just don't get yourself caught out and you don't overextend and then like lose to a counter attack, because that can definitely happen. But either way, really good game. Val didn't do particularly well, 1,070 kills to 1,055 losses. He was having a hard time against Kronos in that sort of area on the left side, especially with the HS-129 coming in as well. Anderland using that to pop his ram, and then just like the infantry engagements between the Fallschirmjäger and the 3rd Canadians. It's always going to be relatively even, especially in Phase B, where the Fallschirmjäger squads are 12-man, the Fallschirm Pioneers, against the Stormtroopers, which are 6-man, and generally once you run out of the 6-man Stormtrooper squads on the Canadians, you're going to be losing ground to the Fallschirmjägers, which is exactly what happened. Either way, I got quite a lot of kills there, 1,885 to 200 losses. I barely lost a thing. The Airborne Engineers just playing off so much. That this Airborne Engineer Fallschirmjäger squad, Ersatztruppen, you know, just killing a Fallschirmjäger squad pays off the Airborne Engineers. P-51 Mustang took out HS-129 and a Storch, nice. Then we got the M3 gun taking out the Stür, and an MG-34 and an Ersatztruppen squad. That was before they dropped out of those vehicles. P-51 takes out another HS-129. This Airborne Rifles took out a Fallschirmjäger and a Fallschirmjäger. We got this P-51 taking out an ME-109 alongside the BO Schwim and the MG-42 there. Naval Battery. Didn't actually get too many kills between them, but definitely just held back the enemy and helped retain the lead that we already had. That's pretty much it. P-51 takes out the Ju-88. I pretty much just shot down loads of expensive units like these HS-129s, They're nearly 200 points each, and then the Ju-88 is like 240 points, so that's where a lot of my points come from. It looks like a good score, but it's quite simply because of the units that our opponents were using. And yeah, just don't buy planes when you're losing. It just doesn't work. They're too expensive to do that. Either way, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.